Okay, so question for all of you. Do you ever look at our website, Publishing Club website?
Gotta be honest.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
I have.
well,
I have,
good,
yes.
good.
I
Sunshine,
do.
you should be on the front this time. Billy just sent me the front page yesterday, so it should be on there by now.
Yeah, I did see that it wasn't there, and I thought, well, they probably got busy.
It should be there.
Okay.
Also, do you ever get the PC news, Publishing Club news? Because I sent out several news clips.
Appreciate them. They're very thorough, and I really enjoy them.
Good. Now, another point. I read in the Globe that the library will take our books, but they want large print.
Oh.
So I don't know. Can you see this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very large.
Phil, what size print is this?
Phil, you have to unmute.
Yeah. I intentionally
That's okay.
bold-faced and went up to about 16 font and 18 font in certain parts. I thought it would be better for the older readers.
Well,
That's what the Globe says.
There's
says,
also an
please.
option. There's also an option in KDP. Do you want large print? And I don't know what that does, but there is an option.
So do it, because look, we're all seniors. And
Yeah,
so
I thought
big
of that.
print is just very helpful.
Thank you.
Makes the book cost more because it'll be longer. So that's
Yeah, nice job, Phil, with your book.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Phil, did you say font 15?
60.
I think 16 or even 18. I guess 16 boldface in a lot of places.
Okay.
I want to welcome two new members, Peg Zuber and Fred Cantor. So welcome, Peg and Fred. Peg, like Daya and Larry, could send the booklet out to all of us. So that's kind of cool when you send a booklet out. You know, Daya sent the one of the mandala, and Larry sent a book of his poems, folksy book. So that's a nice thing to do. And it gets us to know you. And I think that's all I have to say at the moment. So let's thank you, Sunshine, and get Sunshine started.
Okay. Well, I hope you all got my email that had the prior handout that I'd given. I updated it just slightly. And I also sent the shell. In the shell, there's a demonstration that I think probably Bob found helpful. I did the research on it for Bob because he wanted to have the person's title on the same line as the name of the book in the table of contents. And he didn't want to have it look that way in the book. And so I researched and figured out how to do that. And there is a sample of that in the shell. Okay.
Everybody, please mute.
Yeah, everybody please mute. Thank you. All right, so what I have for you today, I have a nice little slideshow for you today. Let's see if we can make it work. Yes, there it is. Say share. Okay. Publishing on KDP Part 2. Now, several months ago, we did Part 1, and we went through the fact that if you want to publish your book on KDP, you need to download their formats or already have a format. The one that I sent you is a good format that you put your document into. You either write your document in that format, or if you already have it written in another document, you copy it into that format. Uh, so this part is the part 2 covers the actual publishing on KDP, and actually I consider it the pretty easy part, because putting your book together, writing it, finding where your chapter breaks and all that is going to be, that's probably the hardest part. So I got a little cute here. I got my funny story on the screen there. Okay, here we go. Come on, there we go. So,
Can everybody hear sunshine?
can you hear me? I hope you can hear me because I got the mic as close to me as it'll go. All right. If you can't hear me, send me a chat message. Okay? All right. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to sign into your KDP account. Now, if you don't have one, you just sign up. And when you sign up, it takes you to the screen. It'll ask you to put your password, to create a password. Make sure you remember that password so you can get in the next time around. Okay. So you get into your KDP account, and the very first screen that's going to show up is your bookshelf screen. Since we haven't published anything yet, and you want to publish your paperback, you're going to go right to the little box down here that says paperback, and you're going to click on it. When you click on that, it brings up a whole slew of screens. So you need to define the language. My book was in English, so I picked English. I put in, that's where I noticed I had the wrong title. It's supposed to be Sunshine Stories 2, and I had Sunshine Story 2, but it got fixed. Anyhow, your title, if you have a subtitle, you're going to enter that. And if your book is part of a series, you can put in series details. I did not call mine a series, even though I have Sunshine Stories 2, and then I'm going to have 3. I'm not calling it a series. They're not really related to each other. They're just a continuation of my stories. If you are doing a new edition of an existing book, you can put in the edition number. Now you need your name of the author. That's me on this book. Next, if you have other people that have authored parts of your book, you can give them their title here. Is everyone muted? Okay. And you can add as many people as you want. Then you want to have a description of your book. And you have 4,000 characters to define your book. And anytime you have a question about what you're putting in, they have blue writing here. Can you see where it says, why do book descriptions matter? You can click on that and they got a whole thing about it. So they always have lots of help on the screens. Now you want to put down whether or not you own the publishing rights. If you're writing the story, you own the publishing rights, or if it's a public domain work. Those are choices there. Now you don't have to put in any keywords at all, but
Excuse me, Sunshine.
yes.
This is Fred. Harold is not muted.
Harold, okay. Hold on a second. I'm going to have to stop the share in order to mute him. Unless you can mute yourself. Harold, can you mute yourself? Okay. I just muted myself. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, hold on. Harold, mute. we go. All right. Now I'm going to start the share again. Thank you for that, by the way. All right. You don't have to have keywords, and they have a whole section on how do you choose them. I'll let you review that. I chose some keywords for my book. Inanimate objects tell their story. Could happen to anyone. Fortunately, life keeps happening. Song lyrics, recipes, true stories, and surviving COVID-19. After that, you choose your categories. It's a 2-level choice. So when you say choose categories, it brings up the first level, and I chose bibliography and autobiography. Biography, autobiography. Okay. Then you can do a second level, and I didn't scroll it down all the way to the one I chose, but I chose personal memoirs. And then you can either cancel, which wipes it all out, or you can save. When you save, it brings up more screens. One of the screens says, does this book contain language, situations, or images inappropriate for children under 18? Mine doesn't, so I said no. And then if you save it as a draft, all of the information is updated, and it would take you back to your beginning screen. But we are ready to continue. We're going to save and continue. And then you fill out more information about your book. This first part is the ISBN number. I'm not going to give a discussion about the worth of doing your own versus using theirs, because we've done that before and we can do it again. But I am using their free ISBN number. I don't have to pay a thing, and I have an ISBN number, which is required to publish. If you've already purchased some ISBNs, then you would say use my own. The live date. The first time, they're going to supply that. It'll just happen. If you are republishing your book for any reason, you might want to use the original date that it was first published right there. So you would put that in. Of course, that's on the inside cover of your book. Now you're ready to define how your book is going to look. If I was a person with oodles of money that I didn't know what to do with, I would have premium color interior because I got lots of photos, but I'm not that person. So I chose black and white, and I chose cream paper because I feel, from my point of view, that cream paper makes the print easier to read. Now, not everybody might have that same opinion, but that's mine. I chose for the size a 6x9 book, which is the same size as the Village Stories books that we publish, that the club publishes every year. And then you say whether you want bleed or no bleed. They have a whole section on what are the bleed settings. I'm not going to go through that. You can on your own if you're interested. I chose no bleed, and I want my cover to be glossy because I like the look of glossy. Now you are ready to upload your manuscript. Now they prefer the PDF. So on your Word, if you have an option to create a PDF, you can do it and upload it here. You also can upload a DOCX document or DOC or other things. But I went with the preferred, and I uploaded my story in PDF format. Now it says it uploaded successfully, but on my second time through, or when I'm fixing things, then I need to upload the paperback manuscript. When I press the button, it shows me a screen from my computer where I find where I've stored my book, and my book is at the very top. I would click on that. That's the one I actually published. And you open it. Then it goes through. It takes a while to come up with uploaded successfully. And then after it does that, it still says processing your file. So you don't want to really do too much more until that processing your file has gone away. Then you are ready to upload the cover. Now, if someone else has created your cover and given you the PDF, this one has to be PDF, or you've created your own cover and you saved it in a PDF. This is where you're going to upload it. Now there's a box underneath it that says check this box if the cover you are uploading includes a barcode. So if the barcode is already on your picture that you're going to be uploading, then you need to mark that right there. If it's not, then the only thing that's really important is that if you have writing on the back of your book, you want to make sure that it's not down here because it will get overlaid by the code. When you click on upload your cover, again, it's going to take you to your computer. If you can see the writing here, I know it's kind of hard to see, but when I first was working on this story, I thought I was done, and it was 108 pages. It goes by increments of 10. So you must know the size, number of pages in your book. So I uploaded the 110. When I was editing, I added a bunch of stuff, and it ended up being 138 pages. So the cover that I would be uploading is the one for 140. Okay. This one, again, you get a message, cover uploaded successfully. That one doesn't take quite as long as the manuscript usually. But it also has processing files. So you don't want to go on until it's done processing. The very next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to launch the previewer. When you launch the previewer, and I'm going to move this guy, there we go. When you launch the previewer, as you can see, the print is pretty darn small, especially on my screen. Now, if you had a bigger computer monitor, yeah, it would maybe be a little bit bigger. But there is an answer, which I would use anyway, because you can download PDF proof. Once you've downloaded that proof, if you live in the village, you could send it to our print center, and for 3 cents a copy, if you are doing 100 pages, you'll get a hard copy that you can review. And to me, that's where I found my errors. When I'm reading it online, I have a tendency to put the right word in there, even if it's not there. So I would do the download. Now, before I do the download, I'm going to kind of show you what happens. You can click on the little arrow and go through page by page. I went through a few pages just to show you what the print. Here's my table of contents, which is completely unreadable. So I am going to download my proof. After you download the proof, you want to probably close out of KDP because you're going to be doing lots of edits as you review your downloaded proof. They ask you, where do you want to store it? Now, I have my computer organized, so I have books, and then I have the name of this book that I'm doing. And when I named it, I put an XX in front of the story because I wanted to easily just go to the bottom and grab it. So there we go. Okay, so now you're going to open the downloaded proof. When you first open it, at least on my computer, and I grant you not all computers work the same, but when I opened it on mine, I had this little side panel which made it less than full. That side panel will go away if you just click on that little arrow at the middle of the side panel there. And there you have it, a little bit bigger. Now there is a magnifying glass on it that you can make it even bigger than this, but then it's not going to be a page at a time. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Okay. All right. One of the most useful things that I found is that you want your book at the top always to start in the same place. So when you're running through your book, this is a good way to, you go page, this one inside, it goes like that. If I click on that, we're going to go to the next screen, so I'm not going to show you. But if you quickly just go through your entire book at this point to make sure that any pictures that you have haven't accidentally been pushed to the left or to the right and off the page, or that all of your printing is included within the page margins. That's one of the safest things that you can do. I've had pictures, I'm going to go back again. I've had pictures that have basically gone off the edge of the page.
How do you go back?
How do you go back? To what? What are you trying to go back to?
Well, you keep going back.
This is a slide, honey. This is a slide. So, okay. I accidentally clicked on the slide, which makes it go forward. Okay. All right. After you've reviewed your PDF proof 1,000,000 times and updated the Word document with all the changes and created the PDF, then you sign into KDP again. The bookshelf is displayed. You scroll down to your book and you click on Continue Setup, because it's just waiting for you to continue. Now, when you do continue setup, what it's going to do is it's going to take you through all of the screens that you filled out the information before, and you have to save. It takes you through the next set of screens. So you're just going through all those screens again, and I didn't show those screens again because I figured that was kind of pointless. Now, when I run the previewer, it's the same as before. I probably at this point would again download a PDF proof. And the reason why I would do that again is a lot of times when you make corrections, you might accidentally wipe out a whole paragraph, wipe out a whole sentence. And so you might, and you're going to want to read it very carefully to make sure that all the changes you made were good changes. Now, I would always recommend that when you make the changes to your book, that you save it under a title that has the date after it, and so that you have your previous version there to look at. You can look at your previous version in Word and say, well, wait a minute, what was that supposed to be? And you can copy in anything that you lost. So that's just kind of an editing tip. Okay. Once you are totally happy with your proof, one thing I wanted to tell you, when you download the proof, it does not copy the cover. So it has everything except the cover. Okay. When you are really happy with what you got, then you approve it. That's a very important step, because if you don't approve it, you got an old version there that you're moving forward with. So you approve it, and it's going to ask you many of the same questions, and I kind of went past them. They ask you about the ISBN. They ask you about the series. I think this got out of order. No, it didn't. No, it's showing me where I'm at. So that's okay. All right. We're just going to go forward here. All right. It asks you, do you want to have it all territories? Which I said, why not? All territories, yes. And my primary marketplace is Amazon.com. You can make other choices if you want to. That's by clicking on that arrow. Now, I don't know if you can see the print underneath the $7. It says minimum $6.12, maximum $250. Well, I don't like cents, so I went to the next dollar. So my book is $7. And then on expanded distribution, where I said yes, it's just going to base the price on the price that I defined here, the $7, on all the other markets. Now it will tell me, it says, it's going to take 72 hours for your book to be available. However, if they find something wrong, they will send you an email and you're going to be back on the very first page, continue again, the bookshelf page. The things that I've had where that something's gone wrong, it was that I had a template that I downloaded from KDP for my cover, and I left just a little tiny bit of the template showing beneath my cover, and I had to make my cover just slightly bigger. So I did have to reload my cover because it said, hey, you got a problem with your cover. The template is showing. Now, before you say publish your paperback book, you can, if you want to, request a printed proof of the book. If you ask for it, then you say you can order up to 5 copies, and you're going to order from, I picked Amazon.com. Now, I would never do this. I actually wiped it out. The reason why I wouldn't do this is it gives you a proof that says not for resale written across the whole page. And what am I going to do with a book that says not for resale? I would prefer to wait for the 72 hours and request an author's copy. Okay, so yes.
I have a question. In the past, they only put that not for resale on one page. Have they changed that so that print is on every page?
No, but it prints on the cover.
No, it's on the cover.
It's on the cover.
Oh, it's on the cover, because when I did mine, about 4 years ago, and it was just on the blank page inside.
No, it's on the cover.
Ah, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Sunshine?
Yes.
Okay, I've worked with them, and the last 4 books were done through Amazon, KDP. I would get a proof and look it over, because here's what happens. You read it through, right? And you've seen it 180 times, but you may not see something because it becomes like a second nature. I would have somebody else look at it before I send in for a proof, and then send for the proof, because sometimes something will pop up that you didn't notice.
Well, that's
you're paying for 1 extra copy, but with an author's price, but it's cheap to do it. And then what I found out is, even after looking at it and sending a proof, when I got the proof back, there were 6 little relatively easy to correct items on there. But a careful reader, particularly somebody who's reviewing the book, it's gonna stand out to them, because it's the first time
I agree with that. I was hoping to accomplish that by having it printed and giving my downloaded proof printed and giving that to several people to read those carefully. So I've already done that step, but yes, if you want to do that step, you surely can.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is you have to have another pair of eyes on it.
Absolutely.
Because, as you know, we all know this if we've written before, you get so used to seeing something a certain way, and it may be an obvious thing to somebody who's seeing it the first time. So after I proofed it, I had my wife look at it. When we got the proof back, we still found a couple of things, but then we were able to correct it before we ordered a whole bunch of copies that we were sending out for reviews or donations or family members. And it was then, at that point, it was perfect. So I think it was worth it to do that a little extra step. That's just me, but.
Let me back up. Yes, I agree with that, but I was doing that with the downloadable proof. And so I was sending the downloadable proof to multiple people. In fact, I hired from Upwork someone to look at my downloadable proof. So there's lots of ways that you can do that. So this looks like the book, and so that it, maybe makes you want to look at it more carefully. I don't know, something like that. Okay, now if you got that far, yes.
Is the print shop open? Because you were talking about getting approved from the print shop.
Yes, basically you can send them something and they will make it, and when it's ready, they tell you, and they will go to the back door and give it to you. At this point, if you wanted to use the actual requested print, like Scott said he would do, then you don't want to say publish your book, you want to save as a draft, okay? When you are ready to publish a book, then you click that, and they say, next we'll review your book to ensure it meets KDP's guideline for book details, content, and quality. If it passes our review, it can take up to 72 hours to be available for purchase. If it doesn't pass our review, we'll email you. Okay, and during the review, it'll say in review, and you can't get to the details. As soon as it's been published, then if you, at that point in time, find something else, yes, you can bring it through and you can republish it. My experience has been that even when you have 15 people looking at it 15 times, your book out there may have a couple errors in it, maybe more than that, but sometimes you just say, okay, that's all right. And sometimes you say, I'm going to fix it. All right. Now, when it is live and you want to order author copies, you are basically going back to your very first screen and scrolling down to your book, and you're saying, I want to order an author copy. Well, actually, these are prior books, but at any rate. So when you order an author copy, they'll ask you how many you want. You can order up to 999 copies. So, and you get them at the cost for printing plus an extra little fee there. For my book, I think it was like $2.95, I think, or something like that. And
Yeah,
then
Sunshine?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the other part of the cost that you're paying for those authors' copies are for the shipping and handling. So in other words, you're paying for the printing and also the shipping and handling for them to get it from their office to you. Right. So that's what that extra charge is.
That doesn't appear until after you've ordered. So say you submit the order, and then I ask for 10 copies, and it would come to $21.90. Okay, but when you say proceed to checkout, then they're going to add the shipping charge to that. Okay. So that takes us through the actual publishing of the work on KDP. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, there's Sunshine. I know it is kind of very trivial question for all of you, but I still do not know, is it safe for me to give my bank account to KDP? Because at one point they ask me about my bank account, like all my profile and everything.
That's true. That's true. And actually, what I did is I set up a separate bank account in my bank so that I could track what actually got put in there. which wasn't
Uh-huh.
much. I didn't expect it to be because basically my works are more for family and friends. But um, yes, I've done that.
Okay.
I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, so that means, if I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, that I could establish maybe a separate account where I feel more secure to giving them that account number.
Hmm. That's what I did.
Okay, thank
Or
you.
the,
Well, hi, it's Fred Cantor.
Yeah, hi.
I think you have to have some faith in their security and privacy, because if you don't, they're asking for something more significant than your bank account number. They're also asking for your tax ID
Yeah,
and tax information, which for most people is their social security number. So
yeah,
I think we have to have faith in the security that they've set up. And
yeah.
if not, if you don't feel comfortable, I'm not saying whether you should or shouldn't, then you shouldn't go with this program.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
you know,
there's,
because all of you have done that, so I think I might as well feel, comfortable doing it.
I set
yeah,
up a separate bank account. And so I all my KDP stuff, and on Amazon, I can track and see royalties because because you're going to use that same information for taxes.
Well,
So separate.
yeah, but I'm not at that advanced stage as all of you are, just very advanced publisher and publishing and everything. But I'm just asking the initial trivial question for you, maybe.
Yeah, but you can have a separate account and it
Okay, that's what I think.
costs you nothing.
Such a simplified answer, which did not occur to me.
Sunshine, I was thinking of just publishing online at something less than $7.
Well, they will tell you what is the least amount. If you're doing it through KDP, they tell you what is the least amount. And it has to do with the number of pages and stuff like that.
So there's no option for just online, just digital copy?
I don't know what you're asking there.
Yeah, Peg, you
yeah,
could
you can,
write a book and send it to anyone you want if it's just short. I just edited Professor Allen's book and it was like 80 pages. So, yeah.
well, yes, and you can also do the online version of just doing Kindle if you want to keep the costs down and not have to do, pay for extra printing and stuff like that. You can do a Kindle version, and that one will be a lot less pricey than, say getting a printed copy. And that's a matter of what you feel comfortable with doing. You know what I mean? But that is another option.
But if you
So-
do just the Kindle version, it doesn't that mean that whoever Peggy is going to send it out to, that means they have to have Kindles themselves, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
You can, yes, but you can also
Yes,
watch
you
it
do.
online too. If you have a Kindle, you can watch it on your computer.
Right.
That-
Yeah, but, excuse me, but,
Any-
when you say about Kindle, obviously that all of us have that access, but suppose you have down the road somewhere, I have a little book, and I say I'm going to give one copy to each of my grandchildren, then they don't have, suppose, access to Kindle, or some of my friends don't have that. That in that case, should I go to printing route?
Yeah, you could do that.
Yes, if they don't have Kindle, yes. That's the other option you have as far as the publishing you're going to do. But the other thing to know about that is if you use Kindle and you use an ISBN number,
Uh-huh.
you're going to have to use two different numbers, one for the Kindle version and one for the print version.
Okay.
Okay, just so you know that that's kind of how they do that.
That's
Do you
very
do
helpful.
this? Do you do this through the KDP? Do you do the Kindle version through the KDB?
Yes,
Or-
you do it through both. Yes, you can do both through KDP.
But
Oh,
then
okay.
you could just take it to any print shop and they will put a cover on it and you could just do it that way.
Well, No, you mentioned about print shop. Where is that print shop?
Right in administration, in the administration building
First, are you
on El Toro.
does she live
Okay. I
in the
get it.
village? Does she live in the village?
Yeah, she lives across the street at Wellington.
I used to live there at the village, and I know where the building is, but I did not know
But they
print shop is there. I have been to that building several times.
So
they do it.
But
So
centers-
Sunshine, is the Kindle process basically the same as the KDP process?
Yeah, you download something called Kindle Create, and you can copy your information into that. It's not quite, it's not like Word. If you actually, yeah, you can take your Word document and load it into Kindle Create, and then it moves it all around and things are changed. Your pictures are all different. So you may have to reload your pictures and change where the book breaks, because you might end up with one line on a page where it wasn't that way before, and you don't want to have one line on a page. So it's
You can't use a PDF? Can you download a PDF rather than a Word document?
Into Kindle? I don't know that. Hold on one second. I might be able to answer that. Actually, excuse me, why don't you ask other questions and talk among yourselves, and I'll take them.
How would you correct a Kindle copy?
If you've used Kindle Create, then you open Kindle Create and it asks what you want to open. It knows what you've written.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're there, you can type things in, but I don't know about copying things in. I'm having a little trouble with the Kindle myself.
Yeah, because my Kindle copy is messed up, I've been told.
Yeah.
And I've never corrected it, and I should, and I don't know how.
Well, if you download Kindle Create, you can manually do some corrections. I actually called them about that, I think it was yesterday, because in Kindle Create, I put some spaces in at the bottom of the page so that the next paragraph would go to the new page.
Didn't like it.
Didn't work. And she said, well, you have to go to the insert, and you have to insert new chapter or something like that. So, I mean, it's not exactly real intuitive, but it can be done. I don't know. Have you had trouble with your Kindle books, Scott? Oops, sure. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. You have to unmute. Unmute. Unmute.
I haven't done any of mine on Kindle.
Oh, okay.
And part of it is for that reason, because you have to go through it and reprogram the whole thing, and I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want to deal with reformatting it.
I know. I don't either. But I did do it. Anyhow, the thing I like about it is that I told you I didn't want to pay mucho bucks to have pictures in color. Well, in Kindle, my documents in color, and in Kindle, they're in color. So that's the really fun part.
I have a question for those who've done this. I mean, I've never gone through the process. In terms of the bank, some people said they've set up a separate bank account, but has anyone ever taken the taxpayer ID information and bank information that you've given at the outset and then completely switched it? And just to explain, I've just temporarily set up account under my name, my bank account, taxpayer ID and all that. But what I'm working on is actually a charity project, and all of the royalties are going to be going to a particular charity, and ultimately going to be looking to plug in their bank account, their taxpayer ID. Can you do that once you've set up the account, or does it just have to start from scratch again using the properly formatted book under a newly set up account?
I don't know that one. Because I just set it up once, and then I noticed that it was missing from my screens, and I didn't even notice that until somebody brought it up. So it wasn't coming up. Maybe if I defined a brand new book, it would come up again. Anybody else know?
I don't, but just give them a call and ask them.
Yep.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, that's probably the best way.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone finds the answer, send us an email to the publishing club.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, we beat her 3 o'clock deadline, Peg.
Thank you. It was very informative.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great job, Sunshine.
Thank you.
Sunshine.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I want to say something here.
Okay, and I have one more thing too. Have Phil, when you were playing around with your bigger book, oh, did he leave? Oh, he left. I haven't seen what happens if you ask for large print. So I don't know. Has anybody tried large print, the option large print? Okay. So I'll have to experiment with that and see what happens.
I'll send the question out after the meeting, see what Phil says. Also, I was reading a letter from my husband's aunt, and she says, I regret that I never asked many questions of my parents because, like other kids growing up, I was just interested in my own things. Then, all of a sudden, it's too late. So leave your legacy. You know, not much use expecting your kids or grandkids to ask you questions. Write it down. Someday they'll read it.
You know, that brings me to object lesson. My daughter is editing my Journey to Joy book, and she says, you know, it might be helpful if you would say if your grandfather, what level of education he had. And I don't know. I have no idea. I'm going to have to call Waverly, my older sister, and see if she happens to know. But I have no way of finding out if she doesn't know.
Well, thank you so much, Sunshine. This was enlightening, and I hope we'll all be able to.
Yeah, it was very helpful. Thank you so much, Sunshine.
Okay, everybody ready to say goodbye? I think
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
See you later.